Have you ever crammed for a test only to forget everything the next day? Well, today we're diving into the actual science of how we learn, and I'm going to share 3 secrets that will completely change how you remember things. Okay, let's jump right in with a little challenge. Take a look at this phrase on your screen. Thick wallet, T of Myers sees knots trained. Just try to memorize it. Give it a good look for a couple of seconds. You got it?
I know, it probably feels like a jumbled mess, but trust me, we're going to come back to this later, and by the end of this, not only will it make perfect sense, but you'll probably have a hard time forgetting it.
So, why is a phrase like that so tough to remember? Well, it's because our brains aren't really designed to remember everything. Actually, it's the total opposite. Our brains are built to forget. Think about it this way. Forgetting isn't a bug, it's a feature. It's your brain's own spam filter, constantly working to keep your mental desktop from getting cluttered with useless information. So the real trick isn't about forcing yourself to remember, it's about convincing your brain that what you're learning is actually important enough to keep. To do that, you gotta know where the information goes. First, everything hits your short-term memory. And you can think of this like a tiny, tiny bottleneck. It can only hold a few things at once before new information pushes the old stuff out. Now, to make something stick, you have to get it through that bottleneck and into your long-term memory, which is like this huge, perfectly organized filing cabinet. So, how do we do that? And that right there is our very first secret. To get anything into that long-term filing cabinet, your brain has to be able to connect it to something. It has to make sense. We don't remember random facts. We remember meaning. There's this fantastic children's story called Fish is Fish that just nails this idea. It shows us that we don't just soak up new information like a sponge. Nope. We actively build new ideas on top of what we already know. So the story is pretty simple. You've got a fish and a tadpole. They're best friends. The tadpole, of course, grows up, turns into a frog, and leaves the pond to explore the big wide world. When he comes back, he tells his fish friend about all the incredible things he saw. And he describes a bird, saying, "It has wings and it has 2 legs." All right, now just for a second, imagine you're the fish. Your entire world is the pond. Everything you know is fish-related. So when your friend says wings and 2 legs, what on earth do you picture? Of course! The fish imagines a fish with wings. It can't just invent a bird from nothing. It has to use what it already understands, the idea of a fish, and then just adds the new bits of information onto it. And that's the whole point. Learning isn't passive. It's an active process of construction. Every new concept you learn is built using the spare parts of your existing knowledge. If a new idea can't connect to anything already in your mental filing cabinet, it just floats away. It doesn't make sense. Okay, you know where I'm going with this. Let's go back to that crazy sentence from the start. Thick wallet T of Myers sees knots trained. It was impossible to remember because it was meaningless. It didn't connect to anything. But what if we give it some meaning? Check this out. Phonetically, that jumbled mess sounds out a famous line from Shakespeare. The quality of mercy is not strained. See? Now that your brain can connect it to something, language, meaning, a famous quote, it's suddenly easy to remember. We don't remember the words. We remember the meaning we create. So, making it make sense is the first step. But that's only part of the puzzle. To really lock in that knowledge, you can't just understand it. You have to use it. Which brings us to secret number 2. Learn by doing. You know, just sitting in a lecture hall and listening is probably one of the worst ways to learn anything. It just overloads that short-term memory bottleneck we talked about. But when you actively do something with the information, you're forcing your brain to organize it, to file it away properly, and to build those strong connections for long-term recall. I mean, think about learning something practical, like how to clean a carburetor. You can't just listen to someone talk about it. No, there's a process. First, you get the explanation. Then you watch a demonstration. Then, and this is the key part, you have to get your hands dirty and practice it yourself, probably with someone guiding you. And finally, you test yourself by doing it alone. It's that journey from listening to doing that forges real, lasting knowledge. Okay, so we need to make it make sense, and we need to learn by doing. But there's a third, absolutely critical piece of the puzzle, and it's the one we so often overlook. It's the human element. You have to fuel the learner. There's this incredible story about Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. One of his generals made a huge, costly blunder, and Lincoln, absolutely furious, wrote this scathing letter, just tearing him apart. But then he folded it, put it away, and never sent it. He knew from experience that just hammering someone with criticism doesn't work. It just demotivates people and makes them shut down. So what does work? Well, the most effective kind of feedback is often called the medal and mission approach. You start with a medal. You tell the person what they did right. You acknowledge their effort and success. Then you give them the mission, a clear, specific goal for what to do better next time. That combo builds confidence while giving them a clear path to improve. It's a total game changer for motivating people. And really, it all boils down to belief. When we succeed, even in small ways, and we get good, constructive feedback, we start to believe in ourselves. We start to build this positive idea that, hey, I can actually do this. And that belief, it becomes a powerful, self-fulfilling prophecy. So let's bring it all home. When you put these 3 secrets together, what's the big picture? What's the fundamental takeaway about how we learn? Here they are one more time. First, you have to make it make sense, connecting new information to your existing knowledge. Second, you have to learn by doing, by getting actively involved instead of just passively listening. And third, you have to fuel the learner, yours or someone else's, with motivation, encouragement, and the right kind of feedback. Because at the end of the day, here's the most important thing to remember. Real learning isn't about being an empty vessel waiting to be filled up with facts. It's about being an architect, actively building your own understanding piece by piece. We used to think of learning as filling a bucket, but the science shows us it's so much more exciting than that. Real learning, it's about lighting a fire. So my question for you is, what fire are you going to light next?